Mom, when are you going to get back out there to find another job? I feel really embarrassed by the fact that my mom still doesn't have a job yet. I was asked today by Garrett what you do for a job, but I wasn't able to give him a good answer, and that really made me feel like crap. I'm getting really tired of the fact that you just keep living off the money that Dad left us when he passed away.
What are you going on about out of the blue? I'm not just abusing the money that he left for the family, Payton.
Seriously? Because from what I can tell, you've been living off of everything he left behind without even leaving the house to do anything besides shop, you neat. So I don't want to hear you saying that you aren't abusing his money.
Excuse me?
I get that we still have money coming into the house from his retirement every so often, but that is not a good enough reason for you to just sit around all day. From what Garrett has told me, his mom, along with all her other mom friends, all work a job and aren't just stuck inside, yet you just seem to enjoy being jobless and depressing.
Payton, you know that I'm working right now. Have you always been thinking that I've been unemployed or something?
Oh, come on, Mom. How could you possibly have a job when I haven't seen you leave the house other than to get food?
Excuse me, Payton?
Well, if you're starting to get offended by me talking to you like this, then maybe it's time you go find something to do that'll make this house some money. What will happen if Garrett breaks up with me because he knows about you being unemployed?
I doubt he'd ever do that to you because of my situation. And if you feel like he might do that to you, then maybe you should go have a talk with him about this before that happens. And also, another thing, if you want to keep talking to me like this, then perhaps you should go find a job as well.
Huh? Why would I need a job?
Well, because Dad passed away while you were still maturing, you ended up crying a whole lot and have since then been very anxious about everything. And that's why, for the longest time, I've spoiled you by letting you take your time with things and living with me. But I never thought you'd start to attack your own mother because you believe that she doesn't have a job. You never even went on to college after high school, and you didn't even find a job to start making your money, instead just going out and about to mess around. So before you try and lecture your own mom anymore, I'd like you to go find a job for yourself.
Oh, shut up! I don't want to hear this from the unemployed! And besides, I have a plan of my own. I don't need to look for a job. Unlike you, I'll be just fine not having to make money of my own for a long time, or maybe forever.
What plan is this?
My plan for the future. I plan to have kids early and take care of them all, so I'm going to get married to Garrett soon, and then right off the bat, I'm having kids.
Wow, I never expected someone like you want to become such a family woman.
Well, I do. At the very least, I want to have 5 kids, and I want to live in a huge and open house where we can all play and have a happy family. And by having that many kids, I'll also be able to have an excuse for not needing to work, and I think it'll be a darn good one. It would be a shame for me to work with all these kids running around and having to always take time off, right? And so that's why I'm never looking for a job.
I see. And I want to say that I'm okay with that, but I can tell that that's a terrible excuse.
What?
You can still work a job and have lots of kids because at least in this day and age, companies are willing to give you long stretches of time off for kids. And also, you're going to need a lot of money if you plan to have a family that big. Can't you at least work a few years first and save up some money for those kids you plan to have?
Shut up! Before you start complaining about my plan, maybe find a job first. And like I said before, if I lose Garrett because of you not having a place to work, then I'm never going to forgive you.
Long time no see, Mrs. Jackson. I have something I'd like to talk with you about, so would right now be a good time for that?
Hi, Garrett. It's been a while. And by the way, you can call me Deborah. Also, thank you for taking care of my daughter from time to time. Anyway, right now, I'm good on time, so let's talk. What's up?
Well, I feel a little nervous having to ask this from you, but do you think getting married at the age of 20 is a bit too fast?
Marriage?
Well, as you know, I've been dating Payton for a while now, but even though I'd really like to move things along, she's still 20, and to a lot of people, that's still a bit too early. But I'd really love to marry your daughter as soon as I can. I want to hurry up and become a bound couple, and then together we can work even harder towards a great future with one another. But first, I really wanted to see what you thought about this. Therefore, that's the reason I'm texting you now.
I see. Well, to start, thank you so much for becoming a great partner for Payton. I have always thought for a while now that you are a very serious and earnest person for my daughter to be with, but she really lucked out by finding a man like you who cares so much for her.
Please, you don't have to say these things. All I am is a factory worker that started right after high school.
But to me, your education and work don't matter when it comes to loving my daughter. From what I've seen and heard, you are a very serious and hardworking man, and I think you're just what my daughter needs.
Really?
But listen, I'm not worried about you or anything, but I'm worried about Payton. Ever since she graduated from high school, she has never once done anything with herself besides go out and play. And in my mind, I don't think you'd be able to take care of both yourself and her with just the money you're making.
And I've thought long and hard on all of that. It's gonna be tough, but I plan to have a talk with her about how having her as a housewife isn't gonna be possible at first, and that the best thing we can do is both work jobs so we can have plenty of savings for the future. And I've been thinking that I'll even begin to help her with finding a good job that she'll like to do.
Well, are you sure?
I'm 100% sure, but of course I had to start by asking you what you think of the plan. If you don't mind me marrying your daughter here soon, then I'll make sure that everything works out for the two of us.
Well, as long as you are confident that you can help her find a job before marriage, then I don't mind at all. And since I can obviously see that you love my daughter enough to do all of this for her, then I think you can marry her whenever you want. But just know that I can help you both at times. But once you guys are married, you should both be able to handle most things on your own. However, that isn't to say that I won't forget what I just said and be around you both all the time.
All right, we'll make sure to take care of ourselves with our own strength. I know this was a very sudden conversation, but thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me. I'll make sure not to let you down when caring for your daughter.
I guess I ended up looking for a job. So from now on, I'm going to be working a full-time job.
Really? You found yourself a job? You said you had yourself a plan, so what happened to that?
Well, I happened to get proposed to by Garrett.
Really? Proposed to already? That's so great. I'm so glad for you.
Of course, I said yes to him, and from there we had a lot of talks about what we needed to start doing for the future together. And so we ended up with wanting to have the wedding before we get to making kids. And since we'll need money for both of those things, we decided that it's time I have a job of my own to help out.
And that's a great reason to get to work. When you have a lot of goals in front of you, they really help make the grinding feeling of work less painful. So, what company did you end up entering? I think that even being at a smaller company where you work 30 to 40 hours a week is even good for a start.
Actually, I'm just working a part-time job at the convenience store around the corner from us.
Oh? You think working part-time is going to help you save enough?
I told you before that I want to hurry up and have these kids. I agreed that I'd start working before we got married, but since I already have plans to have babies after that, it's best to just do part-time work, right? I'll be able to get a lot of time off from work whenever I want, and if I want to quit, it's really easy.
But what about the money side of things? The wedding alone is going to cost you guys a lot of money, I feel. And when it comes to your kids in the future, you'll need a lot saved up for them as well. And I just think that a part-time job won't cut it. It'd be so much more efficient if you just worked full-time somewhere, don't you think?
And I'm supposed to trust what a jobless person thinks? I'll be just fine with the money I make working part-time, and I won't be as stressed out from having to work for 40 hours a week. And actually, I have a plan for the house. I'd like for you to get out of this house for Garrett and I.
What?
From today, I'd like this house to be where Garrett and I start our family. And we don't need some jobless neat of a grandma in the house anymore, so go away.
Now hold on 1 second, Payton. What makes you think you can talk to me like that? And what makes you think that I'm going to leave my house?
Well, that's to help us save money by not needing to buy a house of our own. At first, we were thinking of just both living there with you, but that could mean that we'd need to pay rent on the room we stayed in, right? So instead of doing that, and to save some major money, we are going to be taking the house from you.
Are you sure?
I'm telling you that we thought through living in that house with you, and besides the rent, just think. It'd be an embarrassment for us to have to live together with a mom who never goes outside. So, if you'd be really nice as to leave that house and let the two of us start our family in peace, that'd be great.
And what will you do about the rent for the house that I pay now? It's only $300, so I'll take care of it. $300?
That place was originally being rented by Dad, right? So that would mean that the price hasn't increased since he started renting the house long ago. And even with the bills for electricity and stuff, we still won't have to pay more than $1,000 a month. When comparing that to other places that need to be rented, that's so cheap.
And that's why you want me out? I promise I wouldn't charge you guys anything to live here, actually. I'd actually be happy to all grow up here, rather than getting kicked out by my own daughter.
Well, won't leaving this place be a good experience for you? Sooner or later, Dad's money will run out, and then you'll have to find a way to make some money.
Huh?
Anyway, this house is going to be yours, starting today, so the unemployed grandma needs to get out of there now. And I think you can use this chance to finally find some work.
Then I guess I have no other choice than to leave this house. But if you plan to live in this house, it'll be $3,000 a month, actually. And I'm no longer going to help you pay for that.
$3,000 a month? What are you on about, Mom? I know that Dad wasn't paying that much when he was around. And since he was here before the company that technically rents it to us changed, we still only have to pay $300 for it, correct?
Dad never had to pay that little for this place. He has always been paying $3,000, and since he passed, I've been the one paying all of that every month.
Huh? But I thought we didn't have to pay that much.
Just because you thought that Dad didn't have to pay that much because he rented the place before the change doesn't mean he wasn't paying the same amount before. I guess you just thought since we've rented this place for the longest time that the rent wouldn't be that much. Sorry that you never understood how much your dad and I have actually been paying. But you'll soon learn that you will be paying $3,000 every month for this house.
No. That can't be true. Even if you guys have been paying more than $300, there's no way it costs $3,000 for this place, especially when someone like you has to pay that amount. You don't even make any money to be paying that now. I know that you have Dad's money to live on, but even that doesn't get you enough to rent this place for that kind of money.
I told you before that I'm not just abusing the money he's left for me. I've made sure to have a job for the extra money, and that job happens to let me work from home. And with the money I'm making, that $3,000 is not a problem at all. I even make enough to raise a spoiled brat like you over the years.
Huh? A job that you're doing from home? What makes you think I'd believe that? Didn't you quit your job the moment that Dad passed away? You knew that you'd be getting everything from him, so you chose to become a NEET so that you could just live off of what he left you.
I see. So that's another thing you're pretty confused about.
What? Confused?
I did indeed leave my job right after Dad passed away, but that wasn't me being unemployed, but rather just changing to a new job. I was so worried about you crying all the time over the loss of him, so I made sure to find a job where I could be at home with you all the time.
Eh?
Just to make sure you were all right, I used the old laptop I had to start working for a company that allowed me to remain working remotely, and that's how I've stayed employed all this time. And so, during the day, I was finally able to stay home with you while I worked away at my new job, and when you'd go to bed, I'd stay up a few hours to get some extra work done. But I never thought you'd begin to think that I've been unemployed all this time.
Eh? So then you really have been working this whole time? And even been able to make enough to afford keeping us in this house? And that means you're not just some neat?
Nope, the only person that was a neat turned out to be you. But I'm just glad that Garrett was able to talk you into finding something to earn you some money. Since I'll be leaving now, you two can start living together and find a way to pay for this place.
Mrs. Jackson, I mean, Deborah, I'm so sorry. I heard from Payton what happened between you two. I'm so very sorry that Payton kicked you out of your own house like that.
It's all right, Garrett. You don't have to worry about me. All that happened was my selfish daughter becoming a little too aggressive, right?
But because of that, I received a phone call from Payton this morning. She told me that she was able to get rid of you and that we could start living there together. But that's when she said we'd just have to pay $3,000 a month for rent, not including other bills.
Well, I'm sorry, but that all happened because she misunderstood too much. We had never owned that place from the start, but continued to rent it because it was right in the middle of the city in just the perfect location. And so my husband and I put up with a sort of high rent.
That's what I thought. I've even heard that the company that owns that house is very famous, and these days it's way too difficult to even rent a place from them.
That's right. But because my husband had the house for many, many years, even before Payton was born, we never had to pay more for the place due to inflation because of the contract he had signed long ago. And that's why we've been able to live there all this time with no worries of having to pay more.
I'm so sorry that Payton senselessly kicked you out of such an important home. I'm gonna have a word with her soon, so please continue to live there as you please.
No, that's quite all right. I'm happy that you care so much about me, but I'm kind of over dealing with Payton. And so, I'm going to stay out of that place to let you both have it all to yourselves. But that rent, I'm sure it's going to be tough for the both of you.
The rent is still $3,000, right? I had heard all about that from Payton, but that's going to be too much for me to pay. And actually, I've sort of been thinking about ending things between us.
Oh?
I'm so sorry, Deborah. Is it okay for me to say that I've changed my mind about her?
How's your mind changed? She told me that you even proposed to her already and everything.
I know that a while back I had asked you all those questions and for your permission to marry her, but recently I've started to feel that she might not be the right choice for someone as serious as me.
Really?
We had promised that we'd both work nice jobs in order to save up for our future together, but when she told me she'd found a place to work, I never thought I'd hear her say she'd work part-time for a local convenience store.
That surprised me as well. I even told her that I wasn't exactly happy that she chose to only work part-time for minimum wage.
I asked her plenty of times why she didn't just want to work full-time, and she always replied saying that it would be too stressful for her when it came time to have kids. But to me, that all sounded like some shallow excuses. And I always heard her say that saving money was the #1 thing between us. But when I asked her how she planned to start saving, she told me it was by getting us a house for free. And I guess that ended up meaning that she'd kick you out. And since she expected that we wouldn't need to pay for a house, she would always splurge on desserts and clothing instead of saving anything.
She was always the one with a terrible sweet tooth.
It's because I proposed to her recently that she went off the deep end and started showing me her true colors, and has shown me that she doesn't actually care to save for the future or anything. And I've been trying to think of ways to make this work for us, but every time I get caught up in this situation, I start to panic. Before, I was so looking forward to getting married to her, but now I can't even think about it without feeling some sort of regret.
Don't feel that that's a problem, though. You're just worried because you actually plan to take the future seriously, and I think that serious planning that you have is what makes you so special. So I'm totally fine with you wanting to leave my daughter behind.
Really?
Then you'll be free to find someone else that plans to become a responsible adult, unlike Payton. So before you get sucked into this even further, tell her that you are breaking up with her. I'm telling you right now that any feeling or worry or anxiety you have now will only get worse if you do tie the knot with her. This is the best advice I can give you, Garrett.
Deborah.
You're still so young, so don't try jumping the gun with marriage just yet, okay?
Thank you so much. I'm gonna go break up with Payton now.
Mom, what am I going to do? I was just thrown away by Garrett today. He told me that he can't see himself marrying me anymore. There's no way he could just do that to me after already proposing to me, right?
Ah, that's too bad. Maybe he left you because you began to do things he hated?
He told me that it was unacceptable the way I tossed you out of the house. He followed up by saying that if I couldn't even take care of my mom, then he couldn't trust having a family in the future with me either. And he then said that he didn't like the fact that I wouldn't work a full-time job as well. He said at least 30 hours a week would have been all right, but only putting in 15 hours was not going to make a family in the future.
Oh no. But are you really going to tell me that you got a job when you're only working 15 hours a week?
What's wrong with that? A part-time job is still a job, right? So then why is me saying I got a job such a bad thing? I did exactly as he asked, and yet he still wanted to leave me.
Could you give up on him already? If you'd really like to win him back, then maybe show him that you can take the future seriously by making some actual money. That's really all he wanted from you, was to show him that you were serious.
And that's what I did. And so to get him back, I will go out and find a better job. So Mom, while I do this, can you come back and look after me? At least come back here and pay for the rent of this place. I'm never going to be able to afford this rent with only 15 hours of minimum wage. I'm sorry for kicking you out before. I know now that I screwed up, so will you please get back here?
I'm sorry, but I've already moved into a new apartment, so I'm not planning to ever go back to that place.
Are you kidding?
If you feel you can't afford the place, then leave before this last month's rent is up. Then you can start looking for a more suitable apartment that fits your income.
Wait, Mom! Are you not going to ask for me to come live with you there, then?
I have no reason to. I don't even want to live with a daughter that throws her mom out of the house.
What?
I know that I really messed up by spoiling you so much as I raised you, but you need to start learning that everything can't just be given to you. So I'm going to stay away from you for a long time and let you start learning how to take care of yourself.
But that's impossible! Please, Mom, Please don't forget about me like this!
I'm going to get going now, Payton. Let's both work hard at living our lives as single women. I'm also looking forward to the day that you become an adult, and I can finally come see you again. After everything that happened, Payton took my advice and made the decision to leave that house before the end of the month. She found a small room in a dormitory near the city community college where she could start over and try to rebuild her life. It wasn't the ideal solution, but it was a fresh start. And I hoped it would help her gain some independence. She's still working that part-time job at the convenience store, and while it's not much, it's enough to cover her rent and the other bills she's had to take on. It's a tough situation for her, and I know she's facing some hard realities, but I can see that she's trying her best to make it work. I may have stepped back and left her to handle things on her own, but I really want to see her stand on her own 2 feet. This period of her life is challenging, but it's also an opportunity for growth. I know it's not easy to transition from being dependent to learning how to take care of yourself. But I believe in her ability to get through this. It might not be easy, and it might take some time, but I'm hopeful that she'll make it out on the other side stronger and more self-sufficient. As for Payton's ex, Garrett, he's still been in touch with her occasionally. From what I've gathered, they've agreed that after a year, they'll meet up for dinner to catch up on each other's lives. Garrett even sent me a text just to keep me updated, saying that if Payton has matured and grown over that time, he might consider giving the relationship another chance. If that's the route they end up taking, I'll respect their decision. Like last time, I'll make sure to keep my distance and not interfere in their relationship. It's important that they figure things out on their own, and they deserve the space to make their own choices without any pressure. If they end up getting back together, it will be on their terms, not because of anyone else's involvement. I'll be there to support them both, but I won't get in the way. They need to find their own path forward, and I'll be here if they need me, but I trust they'll figure things out.